Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to just take a quick moment to give you some additional information of how to use those skirt blocks that we created in a recent video. After releasing the skirt block video, there were several questions in the comment section requesting different information about how to create waistbands for the skirt, how to create a bell-shaped skirt, and how to just finish the top of the skirt in general. As with all doll clothes sewing, there are numerous ways to get to the same end point. In this video, I'm going to show you the quickest and easiest way to line that skirt block and finish it with snaps. We'll be working with the skirt blocks that we created in a recent video. I'll leave a link in the description below to that specific video if you need to create those skirt blocks before you actually go through the process of lining that skirt. In the DIY doll block video, we came up with these two particular pattern pieces for our curvy Barbie. What we need to do now is to add the 1/4 inch seam allowance to the block pieces in order to get our pattern. I've marked in red where I've added that 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around the block pieces with the exception of the fold line for the front skirt section. One tip to keep in mind when you're actually finishing the skirt in this way is I would make the back seam just a little bit larger than 1/4 inch so that you have a little bit of wiggle room based on your seam allowance. You will notice when you're adding the darts that you do just want to continue the dart straight up into that next 1/4 inch seam allowance, and that will give you a new point or crest at the top of the dart. Once you have your two pattern pieces established, I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to line the skirt fully and close it with snaps. I'm going to be using just a really cute floral quilter's cotton as well as just a nice ivory for the lining of the skirt. You can cut the actual skirt and the lining out separately, or in this case, I'm going to cut them out together. But remember to refer back to the grain line on your pattern and make sure to lay your pattern pieces out so that that is running parallel to the selvage edge or the manufactured edge of the fabric. With the pattern pieces cut out of the fabric, we're going to actually mark the placement of the darts. I've shown this in other videos, but if you haven't seen it, this is a really easy way. You're going to take a heat erasable marker and make a hole in your pattern piece right at the point of that dart. You're going to lay it back over your fabric and just put a little dot to indicate where that dart needs to end. And you're going to do that on all of the 4 darts, and then we'll get them sewn over at the sewing machine. I like to put a pin right where that dart is supposed to end, just to give me a visual reference when I'm sewing. I find that when you run the dart up to the top of the new 1/4 inch seam allowance and then make a peak on it, it's a lot easier to know the width of the dart as you're trying to sew it. So you're just going to fold that right in half, and when you make that triangle perfect at the top, you know that you have just the right width to start your dart, and you're going to stop it right at the point where you inserted the pin. We'll get all of those darts tied off, then we'll take it over to the ironing board and press the darts to the side. Once you have all the darts pressed, you're going to take the back sections and pin it to the front sections at the side seam, and then you'll repeat that same process with the lining. With the side seam of the skirt sewn as well as the lining, we'll take it over to the ironing board, trim in towards that seam allowance, and press those side seams open. With our side seams pressed, we have just a couple more steps and we'll be finished with construction of our skirt. I will remind you at this time that there are several different ways to create a skirt, but this is the easiest method that I've found based on using perhaps a cotton fabric or another type of woven fabric. So at this point, we're going to place the skirt to right sides together to the lining, and we're going to pin it at the hem edge and sew the hem edge. A tip that I've shared before about how to keep the lining from showing through the outside of the garment is you can cut off a 1/16 of an inch or even up to 1/8 of an inch of the lining, making it slightly shorter than the garment so that when you actually turn it to the inside, you can't see it on the exterior portion. With the hem edge sewn, we're going to trim that seam allowance and get that hem pressed. As I've stated in other videos, you do want to see about a 1/16 inch of the outside fabric to the inside of the lining, and that will just guarantee that the lining isn't showing at the hemline of your project. With the hem edge pressed, we're going to turn our fabrics back, right sides together, and pin the skirt and the lining together at the waist edge. Once you have the waist seam sewn, you're just going to trim back that seam allowance and then turn the skirt assembly right side out. With the skirt turned right side out, you're just going to give it a good press, both at the waistline and also at the hemline. The next two steps are going to be that we're going to run a zigzag or serge stitch down the right and left back opening, holding the lining on the fabric together, and then we'll sew the center back seam. Normally when working with a skirt pattern, you will see a dot indicated on the back or center back where you're going to stop in order to allow the doll to be inserted. In this case, since we actually made the pattern blocks ourselves and added the seam allowance, we're going to just have to test where we want that finished seam to be. So the best thing to do is just apply the skirt to your actual doll, and then you're going to just pinch that center back seam where you think it might be appropriate for her to still fit her body inside. So if you do that and you pull and you can still get her buns out, then you're in the right spot. So I'm going to mark that as my placement for the center back seam. I'm going to sew from the hem edge to that dot and make sure to reinforce it at the dot, and then we'll get the final closure on, which will be a snap. With the center back seam sewn, we're going to turn the skirt right side out. We're going to fold the left back opening and we're going to actually press it to match in line with that back center seam. The skirt is going to close left over right, and we're going to place one snap to secure it right at the waistband. With the snap closure sewn in place, let's put this skirt onto our doll and get those final photographs. Well, we made it to the end, and I think that was relatively simple. Our curvy Barbie looks great in her new lined summer skirt. Some possible videos going forward using the skirt blocks would include a straight waistband or a self-facing. I'd also be glad to show you how to install a zipper. It's surprisingly easy, so if you're interested in that type of content, please list that in the comment section below. As always, I thank you guys for coming by and for watching. If you have any questions, please list it in the comment section below. Hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.